Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our RIFTS summary podcast. This is our second one, and we will be covering episodes between 25 and 48 right now. And I'm joined once again with all my fellow players slash companions slash friends, Byrne, Piff, Kriana, and Squee.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So, when we left off, you guys arrived to Parents' Post, and after, in particular, many things happened, but after rescuing a cat from a tree, a woman handed you an old map that appears to be a treasure map. And that's when the party set off for a potential adventure. And there were three spots that were marked pretty clearly on the map, and the first one was what appeared to be an old minefield. Do you guys remember the minefield?
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember blowing up my
Oh,
tire.
God, I remember the minefield.
Yeah. Tom hit a mine with the front of his motorcycle, and it blew. And they spent a lot of this session towing it across the minefield, finding replacement parts from an old wreck that was nearby, and kind of deciding, like, I can't remember, were you guys like, did you want to mark it off or warn people about it or something like that? I can't remember that.
I,
No, not.
I what I
don't
remember
remember.
was we traveled was basically pushing the boxes with our vehicles
yeah,
to the
yeah,
other
yeah.
boxes.
That's right. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that. And here I was all last week being like, I have an amazing memory for things. That's right. You guys used well, some you yeah, you used large metal boxes
Yeah,
to
as like
push
mine detectors.
as pretty much mine detectors, and it worked really, really well.
hmm
So that prevented that. No, Crana, we haven't. We dealt with ordering Jackie. In this recap, you guys will actually get Jackie, but that's not a little
Yeah,
bit
that's what
later
I
on.
thought.
I remember Al taking a chance and riding a hover bike over to a motorcycle over the
That's-
minefield, only to realize he'd forgotten,
Any sort of tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to go all the way back.
But that really differentiated this, like, riffs from, say, another gaming system where you just have to worry about a skill. Like, in here, you need skill plus tools in order to do something. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It comes, again, a little bit later on, too. So soon after you guys managed to clear the minefield, you were in a wonderful grassy meadowland, and sure enough, in the distance, you see like this dust cloud and this giant fucking thing called a fury beetle just coming straight at you. This is like a 15 to 20 foot giant monstrous beetle that moves extremely fast over land, and it was charging the group. And it had a lot of eyes, so Al could shoot them all out, but it was going to take him some significant
I
time.
remember that actually was a conversation. It was like,
Yeah.
there's way too many eyes there.
Yeah, this is gonna take way too long. Usually, m- my thing is two eyes, shoot it in the eye, but this has like 6, 7, maybe 8. You know what? Let's just take a fusion block and place it down, and then just time it so that it'll explode when it's rolling over it.
Yeah, no, the group actually carries a checklist. 2 eyes, shoot in eyes. More than that, and then we just go down the list.
Yeah.
So, but what did you guys actually do to the Fury Beetle? Because I think this is something that you should describe instead of me.
Screw.
Sure. So, basically, we saw that it was charging straight for us in a straight line. And Al thought, okay, well, he had Patrick do some maths, because Patrick is great at the maths, and kind of tried to guesstimate how long it would take the beetle to get to us. And Al set up a fusion block. I think he set up more than one fusion block. But he set up a fusion block on the ground with a timer that we tried to estimate it to go off right when the Fury Beetle ran over it. Then we all backed off a little ways so that the fusion block was right in between us and the Fury Beetle, and sat on our vehicles ready to spring into action in case this failed horribly. And the Fury Beetle, being a Fury Beetle in a Fury, charged us in a straight line. We had got the math right and guessed right, and basically the second it went over the fusion block, it exploded underneath it and killed it. With a big boom.
What are you, what are you John Crane?
Tom's bike.
That's
Oh, my
Tom.
bike. Yes.
Tom.
Sorry.
Unbeknownst to the group. Oh, sorry, Brianna, yes.
What?
Oh, you were saying something. cut
No,
you off,
I
sorry.
legit, I don't remember any of this.
Oh,
Go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead.
Unbeknownst to the group, apparently the weak spot of the Fury Beetle happens to be its belly.
It's underbelly. Yep.
Yeah. We did not
So
know this
you
at the
blew
time.
the shit. And
Yeah.
so then you harvested all of its awesome scales and moved on and like loaded it up onto Patrick's ATV and moved on. So soon after that, you guys came across the first time you came across a legit true blue ley line. There might have been like kind of a weak one by the Witch's Cave, but this one was, just lit up like a Christmas tree. It was evening. It was over top this cliff face. It was like underneath the lip of this cliff, and you meet a young lone traveler named Sierra, and she's hanging around the ley line with her little camp zone. She's like, "I'm gonna summon a friend. You guys want to stay with me and make sure everything's okay?" And the party's like, okay." And Sierra was a bit of an odd one. She was very, very enthusiastic, almost overly naive, and maybe a little touched in the head. Not stupid, but like crazy touched. So the party's like, okay, sure. I think she hired you guys for like a very small fee.
I think it was, just for us to camp the night with her.
Yeah. Suffice to say, you camp the night, she starts this ritual, a rift begins to open up, and this creature comes out, this very monstrous, ugly looking humanoid creature, tall, grotesque head, long arms, long legs, and like Sierra's like, it's been whispering at me from the other end, and he's gonna be my friend, and everything's gonna be fine. And sure enough, the thing like caresses her head and then crushes her head in front of everybody, and that's when they fight a creature called a Dubyuk. And it nearly killed Al and Tom. He both did cold shots to your helmets and cracked both of them pretty badly.
Yep.
And Mila had a bit of a hero moment by standing between her and between the Dubyuk and Tom to help him out after he got his head cracked. Well, his helmet cracked.
Yep. She told
But-
it to go away.
Yeah, it didn't go away. It continued to fight, but I remember it was blinded by the magic ring that Patrick got from the Witch's Cave, and then shot in its eye, and then shot through its mouth. And that's how the Dubyuk died. So, anything you guys wanted to add to that little encounter?
I guess I really forgot how eye crazy I was back in the day. I didn't remember
Yeah,
that
you
part.
really were.
I
You
didn't.
really were.
I really, well, because it worked, right? So you
Right.
kept doing it. And that's when old Inferno Pants started to adjust things. You were kind of eye crazy. That was your go-to move.
It was.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, then I can say this actually, because I never really thought about it before. But the shift from my eye craze seemed completely natural, so that was probably a good shift on the GM's part. Like it didn't feel like you were purposely trying to make
no, 'cause
non-killable eye things, right?
Yeah, because everything you came across wasn't immune to that attack, right?
Mhm.
But I did start to sprinkle more things in, of course, right? Anywho, then soon after that encounter, Tom first feels, and then you guys soon see, a vast forest that is eternally on fire. Due to magic interferences, planar leakage, whatever. the forest is continually aflame. And that's when you met Ver. He was a fire warlock, and and his brothers, which were all fire elementals, pretty much warned the group, like, don't come any further. This is our wood. You can go around, etc., etc. The party manages to convince to talk with them a little bit, saying that they're following this map. And Ver's like, oh, I kind of know about this. All right, come in a little bit. We'll talk, and I'll convince you, right? And he explained the plight of him and his brothers, is that these fire elementals were summoned by evil or unscrupulous magicians, and they've been taken away from their homes, and they're here stuck on Earth. And he's been gathering them to this burning forest to make them feel comfortable, and he's seeking for a way to get them back to the plane of fire, or back to their home dimension. And he's been, really struggling at that. And the party, tries to, they give him the book that they took from Sierra's body. They kind of do some bartering with him, right? And then, but in the end, what is really revealed is that, one, they can't really help him, but they give him some tools to try to assist him. And in turn, he warns them about the map. The map is actually an elaborate trap made by a cunning dragon nearby to lure people into his lair so he can consume them. And so he says, now, there was a dragon here decades and decades ago. He hasn't been heard from, but that doesn't mean he doesn't exist anymore. I suggest you go back. And that's when the party had a big debate with, do we go check out this dragon or don't we? And that was one heck of a debate that you guys had. But in the end, you decided, let's check out the cave, right?
Yeah. I think it got fairly heated, if I recall correctly.
Well, I don't know if it got heated. Yeah, I guess you could say it got heated. It didn't get, accusatory, but
I only remember this. I think everyone was generally against it. I can't remember who exactly was for it besides Patrick.
I think Mila was.
Did you want to see the dragon? Do you remember that, Kriana?
I don't remember specifically, but I could see Amelia being totally all over that.
I remember it being one of those things. As a player, I was interested, but as a character, I wasn't. I can't imagine it got too heated because, like I said, as a player, I was all for it. I was just playing Al, so.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Yeah, playing characters is part of the fun, right? But it did get resolved, regardless. And you ventured off to the dragon's cave. You go in. What's up?
May I interject?
Sure, of course. Interject whenever you like.
There was one thing that actually convinced us to go there. Our good fire friend man actually suggested that he can scout out the area with his fire dudes.
That's right.
And we took him up on that offer.
You did take him up, because you gave him quite a bit, like the PPE batteries, and of course Sierra's spellbook, and etc. So yeah, they did, and they were able to say that there's definitely no dragon around that cave, or if he is, he's sleeping or he's gone, pretty much. So the party felt it was safe enough that they did want to explore around at the very least. So they do. They get to the cave, and they encounter not a dragon, but something called a thornhead demon, which is a huge muscular demon with the horns of a stag, giant horns, and he has these horrible tentacle mouth eye things off the side of his head that can bite and hurt people and do crazy things. He pretty much wants to just eat and kill the characters, right? And after a little back and forth, the party kind of stays outside of the cave, kind of coming up with a plan, getting things ready. They're calling into this cave, back and forth into the darkness towards this demon, right? And he's calling out at them, and then he goes quiet, and this bug comes out of the cave, and sure enough, the bug transforms back into the demon, and the fight starts. Within the melee, I remember Al getting bitten by one of the tentacles, and he is struck blind. But after he sets one of his demolition charges, was it block? What are they
Fusion
called?
block.
Fusion
I call them
blocks.
explodey blocks.
Yeah, but they're called fusion blocks. Thank you, Piff. After setting a fusion block to explode, then he's struck blind. And this is where we're like, oh my god, the party is fucked. Or at the very least, Al is fucked because he's blind. He can't find this fusion block. He doesn't know where it is. And this demon's just fucking wailing on him while the other three are up on the ledge, on top of the cave. So, what happens next?
May I
Add or change?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
What I remember was we got information that there was a demon inside, and before we even did anything, we actually had a fusion block, and we are trying to give it to him as like a gift for like worshippers,
Oh
basically.
yeah, because it wanted tribute. That's
So we, us three, Patrick, Mila, and Tom all hit up on top of the cave lip, while Al came by himself with a backpack, already with a countdown of these fusion blocks in hand.
right. That's right. Yep.
So apparently the demon did not particularly get convinced by Al. Kind of went in, morphed as a small, I can't remember if it was a bug or something like that, but a small,
It was a little bug, a little beetle.
and transformed, and me was just like, this is a trap and I'm attacking you. So we went into battle, and we were, most of us were on top of the cliff edge and trying to do what we can, trying not to shoot our friend, trying to keep cover and things like that, but our plan was screwed. Mila tried to go down, and I think she got into the cave somehow, and she kind of tensed up because of reasons our party was not sure what happened at that point.
Didn't she get blinded or somehow incapacitated? I thought because she went down to try and help Al, and I want to
Oh,
say
that's
she got
right.
incapacitated in some way, but I don't remember how.
I think I gave Al the ring and told him how it worked.
That's right, and
That's
then
what
Al.
happened.
Yeah.
I
It was. I remember it being like Al's fault.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
I used the ring without warning people first.
Which makes sense.
So, after this big thing blinded him, he's now blind, and there's just a blind party down the floor with a bomb about to explode.
Yep, blind party. But who saves the day? Patrick saves the day. What'd you do, Patrick?
I, instead of using weapon attacks and abilities and anything else that most people think of in pen and paper games, I basically dropped my weapon, fished out a distance finder, laser distancer, and triangulated the angle and distance between a few points to actually guide Al and his blind self the correct angle and distance he needs to find the backpack.
Mm-hmm. And it worked.
It did. As well as I think Tom distracted the crap out of the beast by freaking putting him in a pool of fire.
Yep.
Yeah. I also seem to remember using plasma grenades, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that. But I do remember the monster's last words were, "Fire cannot harm a beast such as me," just before the backpack detonated. And killed it so quick. Big explosion, black chunks everywhere. The demon is defeated.
I do remember that, and it wasn't really like our intent to be dramatic. It just kind of played out that way. We did it. We succeeded with seconds left. Literally, Patrick was able to guide Al. Al threw it with like 2 to 3 seconds to spare. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. That was the first time you guys thought you were gonna actually die in the game, and I thought that too. It was very close. It was fun though. And you definitely got your rewards. Not only was there considerable riches and gems in the lair of the dragon, but there was also the dragon skeleton and a magic sword that turned flame if you channeled enough PPE or ISP into it. Which works. So you guys hauled all your loot together. Just Patrick's ATV and your sacks are just heavy, filled with this stuff as you head back
Yeah.
to Parents Post.
Yeah, we like made sure to put like everything tied out down with ropes and everything. It was really hard to get back there.
We
had
we got all of the treasures. We got the sword, and we got specifically the dragon's head that was roped
Yeah.
down to the top of our ATV.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
to leave the rest of the bones for Perrin to actually go and get.
Well, here's the
unfortunately.
thing.
Oh,
we
well,
we
yeah.
tried to keep it for ourselves to begin with.
Yeah.
Yep. You did, because you realized how valuable Dragon Bone was, of course. Patrick realized that. But you get back towards Parents Post, hoping to sell a lot of what you have. And sure enough, you run there's not really just a small encounter, but there's an encounter, and you come across a Coalition Dog Boy Patrol, which is headed by a Psy Stalker, and there was about 4 or 5 different dog boys there. And after kind of a brief conversation, which things got a little tense because, I don't know, somebody is wanted by the Coalition and somebody's an ex-spy. But
Patrick.
What?
not Patrick. But after brief conversation, Al trying to convince the dog boys that they don't have to stay with this guy, which doesn't quite work, they depart. They break camp, and Mila doesn't sleep usually, or she wasn't sleeping at that point, and she's out exploring, and she kind of sees a bit of a glimmer in the distance after she's climbing a tree. So she goes to chase after it while everyone else is kind of sleeping, and sure enough, she sees one of these dog boys again. It was a black lab, I remember, and she was kind of spying at them right through using binoculars. It was the moon hitting the lens that created the spark. The dog boy makes a run for it, and Mila chases after. Do you remember this, Kriana?
Vaguely. I remember chasing after it and
Yeah, and being like, "Hey, how's it going? Do you want to be friends?"
Yeah, I
And the
think-
dog's
yeah.
like, and it's like talking on his radio, being like, "I made contact," and pretty much the dog boy convinces you to join you in with the camp, and they
I
like,
remember I wanted to hold her hand.
Yep, you did. She led you by the hand back to the scout camp, the Coalition Dog Boy reconnaissance camp,
hmm
and met with the leader, the human leader there, and the other dog boys. And I remember they handcuffed you.
Yeah.
They handcuffed you, and they were going to take you back to the Coalition for like questioning or
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
mean all of a sudden, and that Philo was not too fond of.
No, so you did a backflip and made a run for it out of there, right? And
Yeah.
they chased you a little bit of a way, but the closer you got to the encampment, they backed off.
hmm
And yeah,
I believe Mila was saying fuck, 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 fuck all the way back.
yeah. I remember you were having a pretty angry time getting the handcuffs off as well.
Yeah, she was swearing, cursing, just completely different than her normal
Yeah.
little cute self.
Hmm. But after that close encounter, you guys, is there anything you guys wanted to add to that before I move on to the next talking point?
No, only that was the first time we saw that Al has some sort of strange soft spot for dog boys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Indeedy. Well, then you guys make your way to Parents Post. Yet again, you continue your journey, and soon, when you're about a day or so travels away, you come across this kind of caravan, and it is from a guy named the guy who runs it is a fellow named Dr. Fincher. He actually runs kind of a cyber clinic out of Parents Post, but a lot of the times he travels around the area as well, right? And you got to meet him. He was a very soft-spoken, questioning man, but he was friendly enough. He kept staring at Nora. I mean, not Kriana, Mila. He kept staring at
So many
Mila.
names.
Too many names. He kept snoring at Snafu. No, he kept staring at Mila. I've lost my brain. But you guys started to talk about cybernetic implants on your way over because you guys had a good idea that you're going to get quite a bit of money, hopefully, right? And so there was talk about it getting like subdermal or regular cyber armor and a few other things that you guys managed to negotiate and eventually do get installed into your characters. Mostly it was Patrick and Al in regards to that.
I got one too.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. You had the cyber armor. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And which was handy. And you guys make your way back to Old Perrin's Post. And a lot of we're kind of clump everything up together in this last little talking point. But you do a lot of buying and selling with Dan Perrin, right? And just to make a long story short, add in whatever you like, but pretty much you sold the gems to him, which he was gonna like give you money for. You sold the dragon skull to him, and more importantly, you sold the location to the rest of that dragon skeleton. And you guys first lowballed an offer, being like 2 million credits, and he's like, "Listen, I know I'm a merchant, I want to get the best deal, but you do not want to offer me 2 million credits."
Good old Perrin.
And he pays you an exorbitant amount. I can't remember. I think it was like 80 million credits or something like that. It was a huge find. And you guys used it to buy some power armor, in particular some Flying Titan, a Samus, and Terrain Hopper power armor, in addition to the Behemoth. Now, normally Behemoths are a bit more expensive, but you guys got a used model that was being walked over from Ishpeming. So it's going to take a little while for that to show up. But did you guys buy or sell anything else of note during that encounter?
Yes.
So. Oh, okay.
Patrick got a particular little tool that he loved to use for quite a while, that he didn't particularly like to begin with because he wanted something big and flashy, but he got something called a minor levitation necklace.
Yeah, his Dan Perrin has a friend who deals with more magical things, because Finger is pretty good when figuring out the price for or appraising technology, but not so great when it comes to appraising magic. So he has his friend Yu Utku to help him out with that. And yeah, that's right. He sold you a levitation amulet. Minor levitation amulet. Yeah, I remember you were kind of like, I'm like, that's what he's got, dude.
Also, that's when Al bought his now beloved juicer rifle.
That's right. So yeah, you guys had a bit of a shopping spree, which was nice, which was fun. And also, what you got while it was waiting for you, because you guys were journeying for quite some time, when you got back, was a certain little metal box that had a certain little squirrel in it. And I remember, I think it was Mila who opened up first, and she just saw this deactivated robot squirrel, and she's like, "Shh, she's sleeping," and started petting it.
Mm-hmm.
It was cute. Yeah.
And I think there's also one other thing that we should possibly mention. Wasn't that also when we got a certain little puppy? Or was that later?
That may have been later.
You cut out a little bit there on my end. What did you say?
Wasn't that when we got a certain little puppy?
No, that was later. That was definitely later.
Dang. Well, never mind.
That was later. That was definitely later. But don't you worry. Yeah, no, that was much later. But, well, not much later, just a little bit later. Suffice to say, after you're buying and selling, you're chilling out with Finger, and he's taking you over for dinner after this huge transaction, right? He likes you guys quite a bit. You're gonna be making him a lot of money. And he's like, I have another job opportunity. He's like, I could always hire mercenaries to go hunt down this or go find that or protect that. But while he's gotten to know the players, he knows that he's learned that Mila is a good singer, and that Patrick is really good with identifying stuff that happened before the rifts. And he learned that Al is really good with medicine, and he learned that Tom, of course, is a burster, has these fire magic. And he's like, I run a traveling troupe, a traveling minstrel show called the Endless Storytellers, and I could make room for that for you guys if you're interested. And you guys were pretty much interested, although you didn't want to feel like you were permanently attached to the group, that you could go off and do your own adventures from time to time. So he practically made you part-time or temporary workers for that. And yeah. Anything you guys wanted to add to that part?
I remember being very excited about it because I'd never played a pen and paper game where I was part of a traveling circus.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That was.
Pretty unique, pretty groovy. And that's where we'll probably end the actual summary, because next part will be when the Endless Storytellers arrive in Parents Post, which starts a celebration called the Tri-Season Festival, which you guys participate in. There's a bunch of intrigue there. And you guys will end up meeting the Endless Storytellers and traveling on with them for quite some time, which will open up the next chapter in our summary. So, I'll add one last, is there anything that we talked about already that we missed, or that we glossed over, any important bits or anything like that, my friends?
I don't think so.
No, I think we hit all the important
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good summary.
Yeah, so while we open up for the next 10 minutes or so, questions from the chat. And by the way, I'll try to post this a little bit sooner, because I posted our first summary today, right? But if I post it a little bit sooner, we can also add in questions in the comment section of the podcast videos as a part of this question thing. So people who are watching this afterwards can still participate.
That would be excellent.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
I'll get I'll get my
Do
butt in gear.
something.
Do something.
I'll do something. Tom is so fucking adorable.
Yeah, right.
How
Yeah.
goddamn cute he is.
Right.
He's just like, hey,
But now
guys,
he's
we're
so much
fine.
older.
Spoiler.
Well, I think
Time marches
I
on.
disagree with that.
I guess it has also been how many years?
Yeah, 2.
Almost,
No,
almost
it's been
2
more.
entire years.
I
No,
thought it's been more.
A
We
little
had
bit more than 2.
Yeah.
It'd been like 2 years, 4 months.
All right.
Wait,
What?
no.
Okay.
Here's how you look at it.
No, not
we've
well.
s-
2 years and a bit.
We've survived for 2 years on the run from the coalition. That's
We're approximating.
that's actually really good.
yeah.
That's.
I mean, we've got 38 more years to catch up to Aaron Tarn, but hey, we're getting there.
Well, she hasn't been wanted by the coalition for ever since she started out adventuring.
That's true.
Yeah. We're talking about a very famous kind of canon character in the Palladium, specifically the Rifts universe. A woman named Erin Tarn. Don't worry, it's not that important.
She's super popular.
So hot.
DD8842 has a question. Seems
Read
like
it.
everybody's backstory has been touched on. Do you think anyone's closet still has any fun skeletons left to explore?
No.
I'm fairly sure
No.
everybody still
No.
does.
No, I
Yeah.
think we know everything that there is to know now.
Nothing.
Now it's my turn to laugh.
Inferno Zeal one
So-
who knows for sure.
Yep.
We actually touched upon it a few sessions ago, where we mentioned that as characters we haven't really explored each other's pasts very much. We've all just kind of accepted each other as who we are now, and not really, because when we went to go see Patrick's parents, it was kind of like, this is odd as a group. We don't really, we've never asked like Alicia or Tom or Mila really about their past. Everyone's just kind of kept to themselves. So yeah, I assume there's lots of things we don't know.
Yep.
Or maybe there's not.
Oh, no. I can tell you right now, there's still a lot you don't know about Tom.
You guys know everything about Mila.
Don't you lie to me.
Lie to me.
Why must you lie to me?
But look how cute Tom is.
You guys know these.
Put in the cat whiskers.
You guys know Al used to be a paladin of righteousness?
No.
Well, he acts like it.
I know, right?
Have another question. If you could go back to to that time, is there anything specific you can think of you'd change?
Which time?
I'm
Like-
guessing
The
the
start.
time around the Endless Storytellers, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's an important question. Do you mean as a player or as a character? Like, are you asking if Al could go back, would he change anything? Or if I could go back, would I change anything? Because the answer for the player is no. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was still pretty new in the whole pen and paper world, so I mean, I guess if I had to change anything as a player, it wouldn't be how things ended up or how I played Mila, but how I initially played. Very kind of tentative.
I know that if Patrick went to the past, he would tell Al to take the entire deal.
That's right. That's right. There was a humorous part where, at least humorous to me personally, where they Finger and Al have a bit of a sniping shoot off to determine like some extra money.
Oh yeah.
And once Dan loses, I think it's like, okay, I'll pay you 10 million credits, and Al's like, nah, just pay me 8. And Patrick's like, what are you doing? That's 10 million credits. Yeah, and Al had his logic, of course, which is if we lowball him, he'll like us even more. But Patrick's argument was,
He already likes us.
No, well, that's not. Yeah, that's not quite his logic. Not that Patrick's logic isn't still valid either way. His logic, Al's logic was, if we lowball him, he'll understand that we're not in it for the money, and that he may consider us more in it for the reasons, for the loyalty, that kind of thing. That was the point. But that, I should stress, that doesn't make Patrick's logic any less pertinent.
Just take the money. Just shut up and take this. Take the money.
Rich.
It should be pointed out, Al's never really wanted for money before. He's not quite as bad as Tom, but he's never really. He was a coalition soldier specialist. He could requisition anything he needed. He grew up in Chi-Town. Money's never really been an issue for him.
Yeah. Tom just doesn't have the concept of money. Like,
Who doesn't
oh,
have-
hey, we have a lot.
Mhm.
Why don't we just
Yeah.
get this? Yeah. Well, I don't mind paying like 3 or 4 times the normal amount. Sure, that's fine. We have all this money. It's fine.
yeah.
I would say,
And that
say
did-
Patrick
Yeah, go ahead.
has the biggest grasp on money.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And I do remember this did open up quite a bit of time where you guys had a considerable bank account. And much of the campaign was just like, oh yeah, we can afford that. Oh yeah, it's no big deal. Oh yeah, no problem, right?
Oh, we
was
threw
it
money
though?
at so many problems.
Now,
Yeah, dude.
much later in the game, things change, of course. But I do remember there was a good chunk of your adventuring lives where you guys were pretty much set up for a while, which makes sense. I mean, you sell an entire dragon skeleton and its horde, you're gonna be flush with cash. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't make anything easier for you guys. That's for damn
No.
sure.
We still
It's
had
just
problems.
a resource that you had. Oh yeah, you still had major problems.
Yeah.
If there is one thing
Uh.
that I think my character would want to do if he could go back to then, in a little bit there will be a bit of an adventure, and I think he would choose to not take an offer from a big guy and choose to. I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
I do, and I think I would consider that too, but we'll wait till we get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait till we get there.
Yeah.
There is
I have
one
no
question.
idea what you're talking about, but yes, we'll wait till we get there.
I'll tell you after we're offline.
Okay.
There is
Tell
one
you when you're
question that
older.
has been asked twice already.
Mhm.
PSYLP, do any of you know why one can only be born under a certain star sign during a particular
See-
time frame?
This doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna be honest
Yeah, I
with you. This doesn't really pertain to the campaign, and if it does, you might need to explain it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
think
maybe the question is like, do you think your characters have signs like a Gemini or a Leo or something like that? But honestly, until that question is clarified, I have no idea how to answer it.
neither do I.
So, with all due respect, Cobra, with all due respect,
I just wanted to address it because he asked twice, and
yes.
yeah.
Well, I think that's it for questions, and
Yeah,
a good
that's
10
it.
minutes, so might as well wrap up this video. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll catch
yep.
you again next time.
And anyone watching this on YouTube, if you have any questions whatsoever about anything that's happened in the campaign up until this point, leave a comment. We'll see if we can answer it next time. Next whenever session.
Definitely.
Ciao.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.